The warning lights flashed, red across the cockpit, as Sergeant Marcus Chen guided his reconnaissance ship through the dark space near the Zephyrian border. His mission was simple: watch, record, and report back to command. Nothing about engaging with unknowns. Nothing about responding to distress signals. The beacon came through weak but clear, pulsing from somewhere in the debris field ahead. Marcus frowned at his navigation screen. "Ada, what am I looking at?" he asked his ship's artificial intelligence. "Distress beacon, Sergeant," the AI responded in her calm voice. "Origin appears to be a Zephyrian escape pod." "Zephyrians?" Marcus leaned forward. "What are they doing out here?" "Unknown, but the beacon indicates critical life support failure." Marcus knew the rules. Humans and Zephyrians maintained a careful neutrality. Not friends, not enemies, just neighbors who kept their distance. Diplomatic problems, PMI. His commanders would be furious. The beacon pulsed again, weaker this time. Marcus cursed under his breath. "Ada, how long until that pod's life support fails completely?" PMI. "Approximately 14 minutes, Sergeant." 14 minutes. Someone would die in 14 minutes if he did nothing. Marcus had joined the military to protect people, not to watch them die because of politics. "Change course," he said. "Lock onto that beacon." "Sergeant Chen, I must remind you that protocol strictly forbids." "I know the protocol, Ada," Marcus interrupted, his hands already moving across the controls. "Sometimes following orders isn't the same as doing what's right." The ship turned smoothly, engines humming as they approached the damaged pod. Through the viewport, Marcus could see it tumbling slowly through space, its hull scorched and cracked. Whoever was inside had been through something terrible. The docking procedure took precious minutes. Marcus suited up quickly, checking his oxygen levels and medical supplies. As the airlock connected with a metallic clang, he forced the damaged pod door open. The interior was a mess of sparking wires and broken equipment. And there, strapped into the pilot's seat, was a Zephyrian female. Marcus had seen images of Zephyrians before, but never in person. Her skin glowed faintly with bioluminescent patterns, even in her unconscious state. Her bone structure seemed delicate, almost crystalline where it showed through translucent patches of skin. Blood, purple, not red, stained her clothing. But what caught Marcus's attention was her abdomen. It showed a distinctive dual glow pattern, two separate lights pulsing in rhythm. She was pregnant, with twins. "Oh no," Marcus whispered. He worked quickly, unstrapping her carefully and checking for injuries. Gash across her shoulder, bruising along her ribs, signs of dehydration. He activated his suit's medical scanner, but it struggled with her alien biology. The readings made little sense to his human equipment. Marcus lifted her gently. She weighed less than he expected, and carried her toward his ship. As he crossed through the airlock, an explosion rocked the escape pod behind him. He turned to see it break apart, pieces scattering into the void. Someone had set charges. Someone wanted to make sure nobody survived, and nobody found evidence. "Ada, scan for other ships," Marcus ordered, as he laid the Zephyrian woman on his medical bay bed. "Scanning," the AI replied. Then after a moment, "No contacts within immediate range, but I am detecting residual ion trails consistent with recent military vessel activity." "Military?" Marcus felt cold. "Whose military?" "Zephyrian signatures, Sergeant." So she wasn't running from enemies. She was running from her own people. Marcus looked down at the unconscious woman, at the glow of her unborn children. What had she done to make her own government want her dead? What had she seen? He pushed the questions aside. Right now, keeping her alive mattered more than knowing her story. The ship's medical systems were designed for humans, not Zephyrians. Marcus did his best, using the scanner's partial readings to guide him. He cleaned her wounds, applied synthetic skin patches that seemed to bond with her crystalline dermal layer, and started an IV of basic saline solution. Her vital signs remained weak but steady. "Ida, set course for Aegis 7, Marcus said. "The frontier outpost, Sergeant?" "Yeah," Marcus confirmed. "I have friends there who won't ask too many questions." "And what will you tell Command about this deviation from mission parameters?" Marcus looked at the woman on his medical bed, her bioluminescence pulsing softly. He thought about the explosion, about someone willing to kill a pregnant woman. He thought about the oath he'd taken when he joined the military, to protect the innocent. "I'll tell them my navigation systems malfunctioned," Marcus said. "I'll tell them I had to make emergency repairs." "That would be filing a false report, Sergeant." "I know. Your career could be terminated." "I know that too." The AI was silent for a moment, then, "Course set for Aegis 7, estimated arrival in 4 hours. "Thank you, Ada." As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Marcus sat beside his unexpected passenger. He had no idea who she was, what secrets she carried, or what consequences this decision would bring. All he knew was that leaving her to die wasn't something he could live with. In sleep, the Zephyrian woman's face relaxed slightly. Her hand moved to rest on her abdomen. An unconscious protective gesture. Marcus understood that gesture. Whatever else she might be, she was a mother trying to protect her children. That made her someone worth saving. The medical monitor beeped softly, showing slight improvements in her vital signs. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. She would live, at least for now. What happened next, he would figure out when they reached Aegis 7. For now, he had done what felt right. That would have to be enough. He stood and moved to the cockpit, watching the stars blur past. Behind him in the medical bay, 2 tiny lights pulsed steadily in rhythm with their mother's heartbeat. 3 lives saved. 1 career, probably destroyed. Marcus didn't regret it for a second. Some choices transcended orders and regulations. Some choices defined who you were. He was a soldier, yes, but before that, he was human. One quality that echoed across the galaxy. They couldn't walk away from someone who needed help. Even when they should. Even when it cost them everything. The ship flew on through the darkness, carrying its cargo of hope and uncertainty toward an unknown future. Aegis 7 looked like a gray rock floating in space, which was exactly what it was. The small moon housed a human military outpost, but it was the kind of place where regulations were loose and questions were scarce. Marcus knew the base commander, Colonel Sarah Hayes, from years back. They had served together, saved each other's lives more than once. If anyone would help him now, it would be her. The ship landed in a private hangar that Hayes had cleared for him. Marcus carried the still unconscious Zephyrian woman down the ramp, her bioluminescence drawing stares from the handful of personnel present. "Marcus Chen, you magnificent idiot," Hayes said as she approached, her arms crossed. "Do you have any idea how much trouble you're bringing to my doorstep?" "Nice to see you too, Sarah," Marcus replied. Hayes' stern expression softened as she looked at the woman in his arms. "She's pregnant." "Twins," Marcus confirmed. "Damn," Hayes muttered. Hayes sighed. "All right, follow me." She led him to a private medical room, isolated from the main facility. A human medic named Dr. Reeves waited inside, his eyes widening when he saw their patient. "I've never treated a Zephyrian before," Reeves admitted. "Neither have I," Marcus said, laying her gently on the bed. "But she needs help." Over the next 3 days, the Zephyrian woman drifted in and out of consciousness. Dr. Reeves did his best with limited knowledge of alien biology. Marcus stayed by her side almost constantly, sleeping in a chair next to her bed. He had saved her life. Now he felt responsible for seeing her recovery through. On the 4th day, she opened her eyes fully for the first time. They were large and violet, with an inner light that seemed to glow brighter as she focused on Marcus. She tried to speak, but the sounds were musical and strange, nothing like any language Marcus knew. "I don't understand," he said slowly, keeping his voice gentle. "Can you understand me?" She stared at him, fear evident in those glowing eyes. Her hand moved protectively to her abdomen, checking for the pulse of her unborn children. When she felt them, relief washed across her features. Marcus pointed to himself. "Marcus," he said clearly. Then he pointed to her with a questioning expression. She watched him for a long moment, then spoke a word in her language. "Lyrae." "Lyrae," Marcus repeated, and saw something like approval in her eyes. Communication became a strange dance of gestures and drawings. Marcus sketched pictures on a datapad. His ship, her escape pod, the rescue. Lyrae watched intently, occasionally making sounds that might have been questions or acknowledgments. She drew pictures too. Tall crystalline structures that Marcus guessed were Zephyrian cities. Stick figures that seemed to represent her family, and one figure lying down with an X through it. Her mate, Marcus realized. Dead. Lyrae flinched whenever Dr. Reeves or the nurses came near. Only with Marcus would she allow examinations or treatment. Hayes pulled Marcus aside one afternoon. "She's bonded to you," the colonel explained. "I did some research on Zephyrian psychology." "Bonded?" "Their species evolved as herd animals," Hayes continued. "When they're vulnerable, injured, pregnant, afraid, they imprint on whoever protects them. So she trusts me because I saved her." "More than trust," Hayes said. "To her, you're her primary source of safety in a terrifying alien environment." Marcus looked through the window at Lyrae, who sat on her bed, humming a soft melody. "What happens to her?" he asked. "Can she go home?" Hayes's expression darkened. "That's complicated." She handed Marcus a datapad with intelligence reports. Marcus read through them, his jaw tightening. "Zephyrian agents are searching for her," Hayes said. "Someone leaked information about a rescued Zephyrian female in human space." "They're still hunting her," Marcus said. "Whatever she did, whatever she knows, it's important enough to kill for." 2 weeks passed. Colonel Hayes acquired a translation device through channels Marcus didn't ask about. The moment it activated, Lyrae's first words were, "Thank you." Her voice through the translator sounded musical, even in human language. "You saved me, and my daughters." "Daughters?" Marcus smiled. "Both girls?" Bioluminescence brightened. A Zephyrian smile, Marcus had learned. "Yes, Ayla and Lys. Those are beautiful names." With the translator, Lyrae's story poured out. Her mate, Kieran, had been a scientist working for the Zephyrian government. He had discovered evidence of terrible crimes, illegal weapons testing, plans for genocide against a peaceful neighboring species, corruption at the highest levels. When he tried to expose the truth, he was labeled a traitor and executed. Lyrae had been marked for death by association. "Kieran hid the evidence," Lyrae explained, her hand on her abdomen, "inside our daughter's DNA." "In their DNA?" Marcus asked. "It can be extracted and decoded," Lyrae said, "the proof of everything he discovered." "So that's why they want you dead," Marcus understood. "If those children are born, the truth could destroy powerful people," Lyrae finished. Marcus sat back, processing this, stumbled into something far bigger than a simple rescue. This was political intrigue at the highest level of an alien government. "You could bargain with them," Marcus suggested carefully. "Trade the information for your safety." Lyrae's eyes met his, fierce despite her fear. "Would you?" she asked. "If your mate died for the truth, would you let his death mean nothing?" Marcus thought about his own values, about why he had joined the military. "No," he admitted, "I wouldn't." "Then you understand," Lyrae said. As weeks turned into a month, an unexpected friendship grew between them. Marcus taught Lyrae about human culture, explaining concepts that didn't translate well. She laughed, a chiming sound, at human jokes, though she didn't always understand why they were funny. Lyrae taught Marcus about Zephyrian history and customs. She sang songs from her homeworld, melodies that made Marcus feel emotions he couldn't. She taught him phrases in her language, words for hope, for family, for the bonds that transcend blood. "There is a concept," Lyrae said one evening, "called Kethal." "What does it mean?" "It means someone who chooses to protect, who stands between danger and those they love," she explained, "not because of duty or blood, but because of choice." "Like a guardian?" "More than guardian," Lyrae said, searching for words. "Guardian is temporary. Kethal is forever." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. He had saved Lyrae on impulse, following instinct rather than thought. But somewhere along the way, this had become more than a rescue mission. He cared about her unborn daughters. The idea of anything happening to them made him angry in a way that surprised him. "Marcus," Lyrae said softly, "why did you save me?" It was a question she had never asked before. Marcus considered his answer. Carefully, "Because it was right," he said finally. "Because walking away would have meant losing part of myself." "This is very human," Lyrae observed. "What do you mean?" "Other species calculate costs and benefits," she explained. "Only humans seem to act on this thing you call conscience, even when it costs them everything." "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" Lyrae's bioluminescence pulsed warm colors. "It is why I am alive," she said. "It is why my daughters will live. It is a very good thing." That night, Marcus stood in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Colonel Hayes joined him. "The net is closing," she said without preamble. "Zephyrian agents know she's somewhere in this sector." "How long do we have?" "Weeks, maybe." Marcus nodded slowly. "I need to resign my commission." Hayes turned to stare at him. "What?" "I can't protect them from within the military," Marcus said. "Too many regulations. Too much oversight. Marcus, you'll be throwing away 15 years of service." "I know." "You'll lose your pension, your benefits, everything you've worked for." "I know that too." Hayes was quiet for a long moment. "She's that important to you?" the colonel finally asked. Marcus thought about Lyrae's laugh, about the trust in her eyes, about 2 unborn children he had never met, but already felt protective of. "Yeah," he said, "she is." Hayes sighed deeply. "You're an idiot, Marcus Chen," she said. "I know. But you're a good man." She handed him a datapad. "Coordinates for safe houses in the fringe colonies," Hayes explained. "Places where no one asks questions." Marcus took it, grateful beyond words. "Thank you, Sarah." "Thank me by staying alive," Hayes replied. "Those children are lucky to have you." Marcus wasn't sure about that, but he was going to try his best to deserve their luck. 2 months after the rescue, Lyrae woke Marcus in the middle of the night. Her bioluminescence pulsed in rapid, irregular patterns, a sign of distress. "It's time," she said, her voice tight with pain. Marcus bolted upright. "The babies? Now?" "Yes, now." He rushed to get Dr. Reeves while helping Lyrae to the medical bay. The next hours blurred into organized chaos. Reeves had spent weeks researching Zephyrian births using every medical database he could access. "I need specific harmonic frequencies," the doctor shouted, reading from his notes. "The birthing environment must resonate at exactly 432 Hz. Marcus scrambled to adjust the medical bay's sound system. "What about the air composition?" a nurse called out. "Adding trace minerals, crystalline silicon, calcium carbonate, magnesium sulfate," Reeves listed, punching commands into the environmental controls. Lyrae's cries filled the room, musical even in pain. Her body glowed brighter, a light pulsing from her abdomen where the twins rested. "Something's wrong," Reeves said, checking his scanner. "Her vital signs are dropping." "What do we do?" Marcus demanded. "According to my research, Zephyrian births require a bond guardian," Reeves explained rapidly. "Someone whose bioelectric field stabilizes the mother and infants." "A what?" "Someone she's bonded with," the doctor said. "Someone she trusts absolutely." He looked at Marcus meaningfully. Marcus understood immediately. He moved to Lyra's side, taking her hand. Her skin felt warm, almost vibrating with energy. "I'm here," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." Lyra's eyes found his, glowing bright with pain and fear. "Stay," she whispered in Zephyrian, then in human language. "Please stay." "Always," Marcus promised. The moment their hands connected fully, something changed. Marcus felt a strange tingling sensation run through his body. The medical monitor showed Lyra's vital signs stabilizing. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it," Reeves encouraged. Marcus held Lyra's hand through every contraction, every cry. The biology didn't understand how his presence helped. He just knew that she needed him, and that was enough. Hours passed in a haze of pain and encouragement. Marcus whispered to Lyra in her own language, words she had taught him. Strength, courage, life. She gripped his hand so hard he thought his bones might crack. Finally, Reeves announced, "I can see the first one." The birth was beautiful and terrifying. The first infant emerged glowing soft blue, tiny and crystalline. Her cry was a pure musical note that made Marcus's heart ache. "A girl," Reeves said, handing the infant to a nurse for cleaning. "Ayla," Lyra breathed. Minutes later, the second twin arrived, glowing violet instead of blue. Her cry harmonized with her sister's, creating an ethereal chord. "Liss," Lyra said, exhaustion and joy mixing in her voice. The nurses worked quickly, cleaning the infants and running scans. Lyra as Reeves finished the delivery, making sure she was stable. "You did it," Marcus said softly. "They're beautiful." Lyra smiled weakly. "Thank you for staying." "I told you I would," Marcus replied. When the nurses brought the twins over, wrapped in soft blankets, Marcus got his first clear look at them. They were small, barely the size of human newborns, with translucent skin showing delicate crystalline bone structures beneath. Their eyes were closed, but their bioluminescence pulsed steadily. "Would you like to hold them?" a nurse asked Marcus. He hesitated. I'm not family." Lyra's hand touched his arm. "You are Kethal," she said. "You are family." The nurse placed Ayla in his arms first. She was so light, so fragile. Her blue glow brightened slightly at his touch. Then Liss joined her sister, cradled in Marcus's other arm. Something extraordinary happened. Both infants' bioluminescence synchronized, pulsing in perfect rhythm. Their tiny bodies relaxed against Marcus's chest. "Remarkable," Reeves murmured, checking his scanner. "Their stress hormones just dropped to almost nothing." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked. Lyra answered, tears streaming down her face, happy tears Marcus had learned to recognize. "They know you," she said. "They recognize your bioelectric signature from the birth. They feel safe with you." The days following the birth were exhausting. Zephyrian infants required constant care. Their light cycles had to be carefully maintained, specific patterns of brightness and dimness that followed a complex rhythm. If the cycles were disrupted, the twins could suffer developmental problems. The environmental controls had to be adjusted constantly, maintaining precise temperature, humidity, and air composition. And the twins needed feeding every 2 hours with a specialized nutrient solution. That had to be mixed fresh each time. The human medical staff tried their best, but they struggled with the unfamiliar requirements. Marcus found himself stepping in, learning through trial and error. He memorized the light cycles, set alarms to wake himself for feedings. He learned to read the subtle changes in the twins' bioluminescence that indicated hunger, discomfort, or contentment. Lyra recovered slowly, her body weak from the difficult birth. She taught Marcus everything she could about caring for Zephyrian infants, but often she was too exhausted to do more than advise. "You are doing well," she told him one night, watching him adjust Liss's blanket with practiced care. "I'm just trying not to break them," Marcus admitted. "You won't," Lyrae said with certainty. They trust you. As weeks passed, Marcus noticed something. The twins responded more strongly to his presence and to anyone else's. Mother. When he entered the room, their glows brightened. When he held them, they calmed immediately. When others tried to care for them, they often fussed and cried. Lyrae explained it one evening. In Zephyrian culture, the bond guardian present at birth becomes the primary protector, she said. The infants imprint on that individual's bioelectric signature. So they think I'm their father? Marcus asked. Not think, Lyrae corrected. They know you are their Kethal, their chosen protector. It is deeper than human fatherhood, more permanent. Marcus looked down at the twins sleeping in their specialized cribs, glowing softly in the dim light. He had never planned to be a father. The idea had always seemed distant, something for a future that might never come. But here he was, caring for two alien infants who depended on him completely. And the strange thing was, he didn't mind. Actually, loved the tiny sounds they made, loved the way they gripped his finger with surprising strength, loved the responsibility, the purpose it gave him. 3 months after the birth, the twins began making their first intentional sounds. Zephyrian language development was faster than human. Their cries became more varied, carrying distinct meanings. One morning, Marcus was adjusting the environmental controls when Ayla made a new sound. It was a clicking chirp, musical but purposeful. "Did you hear that?" he asked Lyrae excitedly. She listened as Lys made the same sound. Lyrae's eyes widened. "That word means safe here," she translated. "They're saying they feel safe?" "Yes," Lyrae confirmed, wonder in her voice. A week later, Marcus was feeding Lys when she made another new sound while looking directly at him. It was a complex harmony, 2 notes sung together. Asked. Lyrae's bioluminescence pulsed warm colors. "Father warmth," she translated quietly. "It means the warmth of a father's protection." Marcus felt something break open in his chest. He looked down at Lys, then at Ayla in her crib. These children who weren't his biologically, whose species he barely understood, they called him father. But danger still lurked beyond their sanctuary. One evening, Colonel Hayes came to visit with grim news. "Zephyrian agents have narrowed their search," she said. "They know Lyrae is in this sector. We have maybe 2 weeks before they find this base." Marcus looked at the twins, at Lyrae. He thought about everything he had built in these months. A family, unexpected and unconventional, but a family nonetheless. "I'm resigning my commission," he told Hayes. "I know," the colonel replied. "I already processed the paperwork." She handed him a datapad. "Service years, plus the coordinates I promised. And Marcus, there's a decommissioned transport ship in Hangar 7. Consider it a gift." Marcus understood what she was offering. A chance to disappear. To take his family somewhere the Zephyrian agents couldn't follow. "Thank you, Sarah," he said, "for everything." Hayes looked at the twins. "They're lucky to have you." "I'm the lucky one," Marcus replied. That night, he held both twins, while Lyrae packed their few belongings. Ayla and Lys made soft sounds, content in his arms. Tomorrow they would leave, heading into the unknown. But Marcus wasn't afraid. He had a purpose now. He was a father, a protector, a Kethal, and he would do whatever it took to keep his family safe, even if it meant leaving behind everything he had ever known. Some things were worth more than careers and comfort. Some things were worth everything. These 2 glowing children in his arms, they were worth the galaxy itself. The decommissioned transport ship wasn't much to look at, but it was theirs. Marcus named it New Beginnings, because Lyrae said it was hopeful and very human. They left Aegis 7 in the middle of the night, slipping away before the Zephyrian agents could arrive. The fringe colonies existed in the space between empires, where laws were suggestions, and survival depended on wit and connections. Dozens of species lived side by side in chaotic harmony. Humans, Zephyrians, Cathari traders, Valorian miners, and countless others. It was perfect for disappearing. Marcus used his settlement money carefully. He registered as a freight hauler, taking jobs transporting cargo between colonies. Some jobs were legitimate: food supplies, building materials, medical equipment. Others existed in legal gray areas, goods that various governments preferred not to ask about. He just flew the ship and collected payment. Lyrae stayed aboard with the twins, caring for them, and slowly working on the encrypted data hidden in their DNA. She had managed to acquire decryption software through the Fringe's extensive black market. Each day revealed more of what Kieran had discovered. "It's worse than I thought," she told Marcus one evening after the twins were asleep. The datapad in her hands showed chemical formulas and weapons specifications. They were developing biological weapons designed to target specific species, she explained, disgust clear in her voice. They planned to wipe out the Valorians completely. "Why?" Marcus asked. "The Valorians are peaceful." "They control rich mining territories," Lyrae said bitterly. "My government wanted those resources." Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. He had seen war, understood that nations made terrible decisions. But genocide for profit was beyond understanding. "What are you going to do with this information?" he asked. "I don't know yet," Lyrae admitted. "If I release it, powerful people will face justice. But they will also hunt us even harder. If you don't release it, Kieran died for nothing." Lyrae's bioluminescence flickered with conflicted emotions. "I know." Life in the Fringe settled into a rhythm over the following months. Marcus took jobs, earned money, built connections with other freight haulers and merchants. Lyrae turned their ship into a home, decorating the crew quarters with fabrics and lights that made the cold metal feel warm. The twins grew at a rapid pace. Zephyrian children developed faster than humans in their first year. By 6 months, Ayla and Lys were crawling, exploring every corner of the ship with curious determination. Ayla was bold and fearless. She would climb into Marcus's toolboxes, pull out wrenches and scanners, trying to help with repairs. Her bioluminescence flashed bright blue when she was excited, which was almost always. Lys was quieter, more thoughtful. She would sit and watch Marcus work, humming complex harmonies that seemed to match his emotions. When he was stressed, her songs were soothing. When he was happy, they were joyful. "She reads people," Lyrae explained. "It's a rare gift among our kind." Both girls spoke in a hybrid language, mixing Zephyrian musical words with human vocabulary. Their first clear sentences came at 8 months. Ayla, holding up a broken circuit board, "Papa, fix this?" Lys, tugging on Marcus's sleeve, "Papa, sing with me?" Each time they called him Papa, Marcus felt his heart expand. He had become something he never planned to be, and he had never been happier. But he also carried constant fear. Every stranger could be an agent. Every new colony could be a trap. He kept weapons hidden throughout the ship and slept lightly, always ready for danger. One evening, while docked at a trading station called Crossroads, Marcus was loading cargo when a Zephyrian male approached. He was tall and carried himself with military bearing. Marcus's hand moved instinctively toward his weapon. "Peace," the Zephyrian said in accented human language, holding up empty hands. "I am not here to fight." "Then why are you here?" Marcus asked, not relaxing. "I have a message for Lyrae, daughter of Fenna," the Zephyrian said. "My name is Vorath, and I serve those who seek truth in my government." "I don't know anyone named Lyrae." Vorath smiled slightly. "Marcus Chen, former sergeant, resigned from service 7 months ago, traveling with a Zephyrian female and twin infants. You are not as invisible as you hope." Marcus's blood ran cold. "If you know where we are—" "Others know as well," Vorath confirmed. "Is why I am here. To warn you. and to make an offer. Marcus brought Vorath to the ship under guard. Lyray's bioluminescence flashed warning colors when she saw him, pulling the twins close. "Vorath," she said coldly, "I know you. You worked for those who killed Kieran." "I did," Vorath admitted without shame, "and I was ashamed. When Kieran died, I began to question. I am not alone. There are others in our government who want the truth revealed." He looked at the twins with something like sadness. "But we cannot act without proof." "The data Kieran hid," Lyray said. "Yes," Vorath confirmed. "If you give us that data, we can use it. We can bring down the corrupt officials, reform our government." "And in exchange?" Marcus asked suspiciously. "Safe passage for you and your family," Vorath said. "Official pardons, protection, a chance to live without fear." It sounded perfect. Perfect. "And if we refuse?" Lyray asked. Vorath's expression hardened. "Then the operatives hunting you will find you eventually. They will kill everyone aboard this ship to keep Kieran's secrets buried. Your children will die, and the truth will die with them." After Vorath left, Marcus and Lyray sat in tense silence. The twins played nearby, unaware of the dangers swirling around them. "It could be a trap," Marcus said. "It could be genuine," Lyray countered. "What does your instinct say?" Lyray was quiet for a long moment. "I don't trust him. But I believe he's telling the truth about the danger. We're running out of time." Marcus looked at Ayla and Liz, at their innocent joy. He thought about the life he had built, fragile and precious. Then he thought about what made him human, what made his species legendary across the galaxy. Not their strength or technology, but their stubborn refusal to surrender what they loved. "There's a third option," he said slowly. "What?" "We don't give the data to Vorath or his people," Marcus explained. "We release it ourselves, to everyone." Lyray's eyes widened. "That would mean no bargaining chips, no protection deals," Marcus confirmed. "Just the truth, broadcast across every communication network in known space. It would be incredibly dangerous. I know. We would have enemies everywhere. I know that too." Lyray studied his face. "Why would you suggest this?" Marcus chose his words carefully. "Because I've watched you work on decrypting that data for months. I've seen the anger in your eyes when you discover new atrocities. If you make a deal with Vorath, you'll always wonder if the whole truth came out. You'll always wonder if Kieran's sacrifice meant enough." Tears flowed down Lyray's face, glowing faintly in the dim light. "You understand me too well, Marcus Chen. So what do we do?" Over the next week, they prepared. Lyray finished decrypting the data, while Marcus contacted every journalist, activist, and independent news source he could find across multiple species. He used encrypted channels and anonymous relays. He called in every favor he had earned in the fringe. On the chosen day, Lyray pressed the transmit button. Terabytes of data flooded across the galactic communication networks. Proof of weapons development, genocidal planning, corruption, murder. Kieran's evidence, preserved in his daughter's DNA, and now free for everyone to see. Within hours, the story exploded. Zephyrian government officials were arrested. Protests erupted on the homeworld. Allied species demanded explanations. And on a small transport ship in the fringe, alarms started screaming. "3 ships just entered the system," Marcus said, reading his scanners. "Zephyrian military signatures. They're coming for us." Lyray gathered the twins, who sensed the fear, and began crying. "What do we do?" she asked. Marcus's hands flew across the controls, plotting an escape route. "We run," he said, "and we trust that the people of this fringe value what we just gave them." The ship launched from Crossroads, just as the Zephyrian vessels opened fire. Explosions rocked the station behind them. Marcus pushed the engines to their limits, weaving through asteroid fields and debris. But the military ships were faster, better armed. They were closing in. Then something unexpected happened. Ships began launching from nearby colonies. Not military vessels, but civilian craft. Freighters, mining ships, personal transports. Dozens of them, forming a barrier between Marcus's ship and the pursuers. "This is Captain Sal of the merchant vessel Lucky Star," crackled over the radio. "You gave us the truth, Chen. Time we return the favor." More voices joined in. Species Marcus had helped, people whose cargo he had transported. "The Fringe protects its own," someone declared. The civilian ships engaged the Zephyrian military, not with weapons, but with interference. They blocked targeting solutions, created sensor static, made it impossible for the military to get a clean shot. In the chaos, Marcus activated the ship's jump drive. As they entered faster than light travel, leaving the battle behind, Marcus looked at Lyrae. She held both twins close, tears streaming down her face. "We did it," she whispered. "We released the truth." "And now we can never go home," Marcus said. Lyrae's bioluminescence pulsed warm colors despite her tears. "Home isn't a place," she said, looking at him with profound gratitude. "Home is where your heart fights to protect." Is home. You are home. Marcus understood completely. They were fugitives now, with enemies across the galaxy. But they were together, and they were free. That would have to be enough. The weeks following the data release were chaos across the galaxy. Zephyrian officials fell from power in scandal after scandal. Allied governments demanded accountability. Investigations began into weapons programs and planned genocides. And Marcus Chen became simultaneously a hero and a target. Some called him brave for protecting Lyrae and releasing the truth. Others called him a traitor to human-Zephyrian relations. The Zephyrian government officially branded him a criminal and posted a bounty. But something unexpected happened in the fringe colonies. Word spread about the human soldier who had sacrificed everything to protect an alien mother and her children. Stories circulated about how Marcus had stood against corrupt governments for the sake of truth. In the lawless territories where power mattered more than principles, Marcus became a symbol of something different. He represented the idea that some things mattered. More than survival, more than profit, family, truth, doing what was right, even when it cost everything. And in the fringe, where most inhabitants were refugees or outcasts themselves, that message resonated deeply. Marcus didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired and scared, constantly looking over his shoulder. But he kept taking freight jobs, kept flying between colonies, kept his family safe. The twins grew rapidly, reaching their first birthday with the developmental equivalent of human 3-year-olds. Ayla had become fearless to the point of recklessness. She climbed everything, touched everything, asked endless questions. "Papa, why do stars shine? Papa, where do we go when we jump through space? Papa, can I fly the ship?" Marcus answered each question patiently, even when he was exhausted. Liz remained quieter, but observed everything with intense focus. She had developed an ability to sense emotions through bioelectric fields, reading people the way others read facial expressions. "Papa is worried," she would say, her small hand touching his arm. "Bad people coming?" Marcus always tried to reassure her, but Liz knew when he was lying. Her emotional sensitivity made deception impossible. One evening, while docked at a colony called Haven's Rest, Marcus received an unexpected message. It came through encrypted channels, bearing credentials that checked out. "Captain Chen, my name is Administrator Cole," the message began. "I represent New Hope, a colony founded on principles of multi-species cooperation. Your story has inspired many here. We would like to offer you and your family permanent residency and protection." Marcus was immediately suspicious. Every offer could be a trap. But Lyrae, reading the message over his shoulder, said, I've heard of New Hope. It was founded 20 years ago by refugees from a dozen species. They truly practice what they claim. Could still be a trap, Marcus argued. Could be genuine, Lyrae countered. Are we going to run forever? That question hit Marcus hard. He looked at Ayla and Liz, playing in the corner, building towers from cargo containers. They deserved more than life aboard a ship, constantly fleeing. They deserved a home, friends, stability. Let's at least investigate, he said. New Hope was a terrestrial planet in an unclaimed system, far from major trade routes. As their ship approached, Marcus saw organized settlements, agricultural zones, and what appeared to be genuine infrastructure. Not the hastily built structures common in the fringe, but planned communities. Administrator Cole met them at the landing pad. She was human, middle-aged, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. "Welcome to New Hope," she said, then addressed Lyrae in fluent. Zephyrian Lyrae's bioluminescence brightened with surprise and pleasure. Cole knelt to greet the twins, who hid behind Marcus's legs. "We've prepared quarters for you," Cole explained as they walked through the settlement. "No obligations, no requirements, just a chance to rest and decide if this is where you want to be." The quarters were better than anything they'd had in months. Real beds, a kitchen, windows overlooking gardens where alien and human plants grew together. The twins explored every corner, their excitement palpable. That night, Marcus stood on the balcony, watching twin moons rise. Lyrae joined him, the twins finally asleep after hours of exploration. "It's beautiful," she said. "Too beautiful?" Marcus asked. "Too good to be real?" "Maybe," Lyrae admitted. "Or maybe sometimes good things do happen." Over the following weeks, they explored New Hope carefully. Areas. Talked to other residents. Tested whether the peace was genuine. He found a community that actually worked. Humans, Zephyrians, Cathari, Valorians, and others living side by side. They had disputes, certainly, but they resolved them through dialogue, rather than violence. Children of different species played together in schools designed for multiple learning styles. Markets sold foods and goods from a dozen worlds. "Why does this work when it fails everywhere else?" Marcus asked Administrator Cole. "Because everyone here chose to be here," she explained. "We're all refugees, all outcasts, all people who wanted something different. That shared purpose makes us stronger than our differences." Marcus thought about his own journey, about choosing Lyrae and the twins over career and safety. "I understand that," he said. Lyrae found work as a teacher, sharing Zephyrian language and culture with students fascinated by her. Stories. She taught them songs from her homeworld, poems about crystalline cities and bioluminescent forests. The children loved her, and teaching helped heal wounds that had festered since Kieran's death. Marcus opened a mechanics shop, using his military engineering training to repair ships and equipment. He was good at it, and word spread quickly. Business thrived, and Marcus found satisfaction in building rather than fleeing. The twins flourished most of all. They attended the multi-species school, making friends with human, Cathari, and Valorian children. Ayla's boldness made her a natural leader, organizing games and adventures. Liz's emotional sensitivity made her the one other children came to when they were sad or confused. But the past wasn't finished with them. 6 months after they settled in New Hope, a Zephyrian operative finally tracked them down. His name was Tarek, and he came alone, which was either very confident or very stupid. Marcus met him at the settlement's edge, hand on his weapon. "I'm not here to fight," Tarek said, holding up empty hands. "Then why are you here?" Marcus demanded. "To tell you that the bounty has been lifted," Tarek explained. "The new Zephyrian government, the one that came to power after your data release, has pardoned Lyrae. They've also pardoned you." Marcus didn't lower his weapon. "Why?" "Because the truth you released changed everything," Tarek said. "The corrupt officials are gone, reforms are happening, justice is being served." The new leadership recognizes that Lyrae and her mate were heroes, not traitors. That's convenient, Marcus said sarcastically. It's politics, Tarek acknowledged, but it's also genuine. He handed Marcus a datapad. Official pardons, citizenship restoration for Lyrae, and gratitude from my people. Marcus studied the documents. Legitimate, bearing official seals and credentials. There's something else, Tarek said. What? An invitation for Lyrae to return home, to be recognized for Kieran's sacrifice and her courage. Marcus felt his stomach drop. She would have to leave New Hope. Not permanently, Tarek clarified, just for a ceremony, a few weeks. But yes, she would return to the homeworld. Marcus brought the information to Lyrae. She read the pardons with tears flowing down her face. It's real, she whispered. We're free. You could go home, Marcus said carefully. Would you want that? Lyrae looked at him with surprise. Home? Marcus, I told you before, home isn't a place. She gestured around their quarters, at the twins sleeping in their beds. This is home. You are home. But the ceremony, Marcus pressed, being recognized for what Kieran did, wouldn't that matter? For a long moment. It would matter, she admitted, but I need to ask you something first. Anything. She took both his hands, her bioluminescence pulsing with nervous energy. Would you come with me, she asked, not as a guard or a protector, but as family? Would you stand beside me as the father of my children? Would you stand beside me as the father of my children? Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Lyrae, I know you're not Kieran, she continued. I know you didn't expect this family. But you chose us, and we chose you. By Zephyrian law, by every definition that matters, you are my children's Cathal. You are their father. The ceremony happened 3 months later. The new Zephyrian government hosted it on the homeworld, in a crystalline amphitheater that held thousands. Lyrae was honored for preserving Kieran's evidence, and for her courage in releasing the truth. Kieran was posthumously recognized as a hero who died trying to save lives. And Marcus stood beside Lyrae throughout, holding Ayla and Liz. The twins were 5 years old now, fully bilingual and bicultural. They wore traditional Zephyrian garments that shifted colors with their bioluminescence. When Lyrae gave her speech, she spoke of loss and hope, of finding family in unexpected places. She spoke of a human soldier who had risked everything for a stranger. My children call Marcus Chen their father, she said to the assembled crowd. Not because biology demands it, but because he earned that title through choice and sacrifice. He represents what we hope to become as a species, beings who choose compassion over convenience, who protect the vulnerable even when it costs us everything. The audience erupted in approval, their bioluminescence creating waves of color. After the ceremony, Marcus stood with the twins in a garden overlooking the crystalline city. Papa, is this where Mama comes from? Ayla asked, her eyes wide. Yes, Marcus confirmed. It's pretty, Liz observed, but I like home better. New Hope? Yes, Liz said firmly, our home, where you and Mama and Ayla are. Marcus pulled both girls close. They had traveled across the galaxy, from rescue to flight to sanctuary. They had faced death, betrayal, and impossible choices, but they had emerged as something new, a family that transcended biology and species. 5 years after that first rescue, Marcus stood in his mechanics shop on New Hope. The twins brought their school projects to show him, drawings of their family. In the pictures, Marcus was depicted with a faint glow around him, drawn in the Zephyrian style. Why am I glowing? He asked with amusement. Because you're our papa, Ayla explained as if it were obvious. You chose us, and we chose you, Liz added. That makes you glow. Lyrae appeared in the doorway, watching the scene with warm bioluminescence. In Zephyrian tradition, Family is defined by promises kept in difficult times, she said. By that measure, you are more family than many born to it. Marcus looked at his shop, at his daughters, at Lyrae. He thought about the sergeant he had been, following orders and living by regulations. That person felt like a stranger now. He had become something better, a father, a partner, a member of a community. He had lost his military career, his pension, his old life, and he had gained everything that mattered. "Papa, teach us about engines," Ayla demanded, pulling at his sleeve. "Papa, sing the repair song," Liz requested. Marcus laughed and led them to the workbench. As he taught them about circuits and power cells, their small hands working alongside his, their laughter filled the shop. This was the humanity that echoed across the galaxy. Not conquest or domination, the radical compassion that made a soldier risk everything for strangers. The stubborn love that transformed rescue into family. The unshakable belief that doing right mattered more than following orders. Marcus Chen had saved 3 lives on that distant day, but in saving them, he had also saved himself. He had found his purpose, his family, his home, and that made him the luckiest human in the galaxy.